Okay, let's just give it a second, make sure that we're live. Yes, we are. I'm about to tag you so that I can focus on being with you. Just one moment. I'm just gonna tag Steve so he has it. Amazing.
What amazing technology we have access to these days.
I know. This is literally my favorite thing about Facebook right now. Just everything, the connections that we get to make is so special. Welcome, everybody. Do you want to make sure that we are live on your Facebook, that it worked?
I'm seeing it. Yes, we
All right,
are.
perfect, perfect. Welcome, welcome. I am your host, Queen Aline, and today I am joined by two very special individuals, my friend Steve Hampton and his partner in health and business, Queen Kristen. And today we're going to be talking about how you can shift your frequency intentionally. We got some amazing tips and tools. He's going to be sharing with us what he's been doing, what they've been doing. Let me give you a little background about Steve that I just met, and I'm just blown away by him and his beautiful energy. So, Steve has a lifelong passion for creating music that facilitates healing and a greater spiritual awakening. It began in childhood. His music released an atmosphere of healing. Steve discovered the art of mingling the sounds of heaven with the elements of earth through his mystical sacred restoration, sound baths, and healing vibrational sound therapy sessions. So I didn't want to leave anything out, so I am reading for today because it's so interesting what you're doing. He offers relief from pain. Oh, so the music offering relief from pain, stress, anxiety, and trauma, bursts of creativity and entrepreneurial ideas, and powerful physical, mental, and emotional healing that's transformed over 3,500 clients' lives. Wow. Steve and his partner Kristen are sharing their healing, musical, and spiritual knowledge, along with a lifetime of experience coaching their clients and students to be amazing practitioners. All right. So they have recently had an intense encounter with a product. Yes, so we're going to talk about that. So what brought us together is an incredible, incredible plant. And when I talk about plants being master connectors, master teachers, this is what it's all about. So Queen Esther will be talking about her pretty mystical and beautiful powers later. So thank you so much, Steve. I'm so happy to have you on today. Thank you. We wanted to talk today about like just share a little bit about like what got you started on this journey? Like how did you come about this beautiful, modality of healing for people?
Well, Aline, thank you for having Kristen and I on today. And I will say that a big chunk of the bio that you just read was written by this lady right next to me. She knows me,
Wonderful.
been working with me for a number of years now, and we've had a great partnership. I got started early on. I had the most amazing parents that allowed me to cultivate my curiosity. And so I would say I'm probably one of the most curious people I know on the planet about sounds and frequencies, vibrations, like anything. And so from the time I was a little kid, like I would just go outside and listen. Now it helped that I grew up in Hawaii.
Mm.
I moved to Hawaii when I was 2 years old. It was a long swim, but I made it. And I grew up living on the beach and enjoying the sand and the waves and like talk about grounding. I had grounded frequencies from as early as I can remember. And of course, when you're in Hawaii, everybody goes barefoot all the time, and you get your fair share of owies on your feet because you're barefoot, but it's worth it because it's just a great way to live. And so I connected so much with nature. And as I grew older, my dad had a green thumb. I inherited his green thumb. Started growing my own papaya trees, growing my own. Um, I had pineapples. They don't grow quite so good in captivity, so to speak. And but I had banana trees. So for me, every morning I'd go out and I'd pick some lychee off my trees. I'd pick my fresh mango. I would pick a fresh papaya that I would allow to ripen on the tree, a couple of bananas, and I would mix up a fruit bowl for my kids and I. So when we first connected with you and Queen Amy, I just felt like I'm coming home to some kindred folks that really have a heart there. And I wouldn't call myself a fruitarian, but I've fallen back in love with fruit since I've connected with you guys. and I'll tell more of that story in a bit. But this morning I had a fresh papaya from Hawaii that had been airlifted into me, and I so enjoyed it. I was like, oh,
Yum.
party in my mouth, you know.
We're the papaya tribe. We're definitely the papaya tribe. A lot of us are like obsessed with papaya. I love that you mentioned that.
For sure. So yeah, I got involved in lots of different sounds, and of course Hawaii's kind of a crossroads.
Mhm.
There in the Pacific, people come from Asia, people come from Europe, people come from the U.S. and Canada, and all over the world. It kind of converges there, and then spreads out. Australia, New Zealand, Micronesia, and they bring their musical instruments, and they bring their sounds, and they bring their songs. And I grew up in a very rich environment. I was adopted into a Hawaiian family. My grandfather was a pure Hawaiian from the island of Maui.
Wow.
I grew up on Oahu and learned to play guitar by watching my uncle or my grandfather play and watching my auntie play. And but it moved beyond the guitar and it moved beyond melody. I was listening for sounds. I would go even as an adult. I would go to um, the beach and just sit for hours and let that be my symphony. And the wind in the trees. You know, the Bible talks about the leaves of the trees clapping their hands. That's what it sounds like when the wind blows through hard, the trade winds blowing through those trees. It sounds like a big stadium full of people clapping.
Yes.
And so that inspired me and excited me. And I tried to replicate the sounds that I was hearing. Then I also had started having spiritual experiences where I was connecting in the heavenly realms and I started hearing sounds there. And I initially started out a little frustrated because I didn't know how to make those sounds on the earth. But the more I was inspired and working with those things, the more I started finding out things. For instance, there's a constant droning sound within that heavenly dimension. And it's the note F, which associates with our heart. And so I thought, how can I replicate that? And I tried different things. I tried synthesizers. I tried all kinds of things. I finally discovered the singing bowls. That constant singing, that constant droning tone. And I thought, oh, I've arrived. This is so good. And so, really, that's what Kristen and I do now. Kristen started out as a customer, a client who came to see me. And so, there's two things that we do primarily. We do sound baths where we play those bowls, especially the crystal singing bowls, as well as the bronze therapeutic bowls. But we will play them for an audience. Right now, it's mostly an online audience. We have people come to the home from time to time, but for the most part, it's online, and we do them twice a month. And we're gonna do one for our fixed family group because I'm so excited about sharing all that with you guys, and we just want you to have the experience. We
Yay.
also do something where we can do this online as well or in person. We take the bronze singing bowls and we put them on your body on a massage table, and we activate those bowls, and it brings you into rest and restore, rest and digest. It takes you out of sympathetic and puts you in parasympathetic, and it drops you down into the different uh, brainwave states like theta and delta, where you go into deep meditation. It also activates and energizes the vagus nerve. So we'll talk more about that and what's happening with you and I and Kristen and everybody else with the vagus nerve. But just to say, it's about layering different things. We don't have to make a choice. It's not multiple choice where we have to decide not to eat fruit so that we can do a sound bath, or we can do a vibrational sound therapy with Steve and Kristen, but you can't eat that day, or you can't breathe that day, or you can't drink any water. It's not an either or, it's a both and. We get to do
Oh,
all of
all of
it and
it.
layer and layer and layer. And we've been listening to the things that you've shared and presented to us, and it has so helped both of us to wrap our heads around, like, how do we know what's happening with this, and you've given me some great resources. Kristen and I have shared those with others, and We'll talk a little bit about the story of what's happened to both of us. But Kristen, do you have anything you want to talk about in terms of what we do?
So the sound baths, it's like this sonic concert. You're listening to the sounds. Steve talks about the droning of the bowls. Like you're listening to the sounds that the singing bowls produce auditorily, and then it's like that is engaging with your body when you are experiencing the bronze singing bowls on your body. It is like this sonic massage. Your body, like, these bowls resonate and they vibrate. They're like specifically designed to like maximize their vibration, and so you're feeling all this gentle vibration each time the singing bowls are activated. And it's like you're just lulled into this gentle massage and this sonic massage throughout like every cell of your body. And it's like in both of them, I mean, it's bringing you into that parasympathetic nervous system state where it's like you're just calm and rested. And it's like, this is where our body restores itself, where our body goes through the process it knows how to do to just like, bring it to a place of homeostasis and a place where it's really designed to be and engage in life.
I could share a little bit on that because I have it I had it done already, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had the experience. I've had the experience of being in a sound bath where I literally had a psychedelic experience without any psychedelics. I had visions come through. I went into a deep state of sleep, but it was like more of a deep meditation. And I've also had the singing bowls placed on me, so I just want to attest to the power of what it is that you're saying because it was so beautiful to have that done. I was in Costa Rica. I was at a Iboga retreat actually, and they were offering that, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna try that." And it was, he had bowls like all over in the room, and then he also put them on me, and it was just so blissful. And like you said, I was like, "Wow." Isn't this how we're supposed to feel all the time? Like, why am I not feeling like this all the time? It would be so wonderful to be. And I believe we did at some point in history or her story, we were just communing with nature, being in this state of complete relaxation, complete bliss, and with all the elements. So I think that's so wonderful that you're helping people to come back to this state. And even if it's not maybe 100% possible to be in that state all the time, we got kids, we got jobs, we're running around, there's traffic, all these things, right? But it's like at least we get that experience to know how to come back to it. We know what to do to come back to it. Just like meditation, like after a nice hot yoga class where you're just like all blissed out, you're like, okay, this is my zen, this is my space of peace. And then we can choose to return to that, or we could choose to come back for another sound bath. But having those experiences are so life-changing, and they do raise our frequency and they do change our consciousness to where we become new people. Because just like with, these drops, it's like I didn't know how good it could be until it was good. I didn't know how bad it was until it got good. And so when we come to these states, you're like, oh my gosh, I really was stressed out, but we don't really always realize it when we're like stuck in our emotions and in that fight or flight and that anxiety state, which a lot of us, I would say most of us are, because everybody's gone through trauma, everybody's gone through stressors in their life, whether we're conscious of it or not. So I think, like you said, I love what you say about it's all of it, because me too, I've been, helping people with their nervous system through the food, through the yoga, through the meditation. And it's like, you don't have to choose either or. Like, let's do a holistic approach. Let's look at it from a holistic standpoint. And all of these are tools that help us, and we constantly like elevate and elevate. So I think what you have here is an incredible tool to help people. And I love the sound bath too. It's like you're going in the bath, you're just immersing yourself in this vibration. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love the work that you do and the way you explain it too.
Absolutely. I read a study. I'm a little bit of a fiend for medical studies, and I read a study this morning that said that they've scientifically tested this with a test group. They said the average person in generations past, like in say in the 1950s or 60s, had about 2,000 decisions to make per day.
Hmm.
And now that we've had the technology that we have, and with social media, we are now facing 35,000 decisions per day.
Whoa.
And this would be a decision of, do I capitalize this letter at the beginning of a sentence to how am I going to lower my heating bill? Or when do I need to go to the grocery store? What do I need to remember? Like, there's so much going on. Did I remember to put a heart instead of a check mark on Facebook? Did I remember to like something for someone? Did I remember to respond to them? There's so many decisions. And the problem with it is every time our brain makes one decision where we're faced with a decision, it could be a simple one or a complex one. Do I save somebody's life by sharing something with them, or I can't find my red crayon, so I guess I'm going to have to get some more crayons on Amazon. Whatever that decision might be, it releases glutamate in the brain and in the body, and that's very stress producing. So it was stress producing when we had 2,000 decisions to make, when we had 2,500 decisions. But now that we've got 35,000 decisions average per day in our bodies, we are stressing ourselves completely. So finding ways to relax, finding ways to relieve that stress, finding ways to, our clients talk to us when they finish a sound bath or when they finish a vibrational sound session. They say it's like the PTSD or the trauma bubbles to the surface effervescently and it just floats away. I've been in counseling for years. Why is this so easy? It's because it's them doing it. It's not Kristen and I. We're providing a space and an atmosphere, and we have a very pointed intention for helping them process through these things. But we know that we can't heal them. We know their body can heal itself. And, we're always careful about not making medical claims and things like that. Neither of us are doctors. But at the same time, we can say categorically the body heals itself when allowed to do so.
Absolutely.
So, and that's what we did. I launched a tour back during COVID. I first really began working with these. I was doing sound baths for years, but the vibrational sound, putting the bowls on the body in 2019. And I launched a nationwide tour where I drove from Washington State, where we live, all the way down to California, all the way across the Southwest, all the different states in between, and all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. Went back up towards Chicago, came across the northern United States. We went up through Nashville, we went to Indiana and all that. And we got back, or I got back home to Washington and did that again, that same circuit. I was on the road for 18 months.
Whoa.
We saw over 2,000 people. And then when I got home, Kristen made an appointment to come in. And I think people that are listening would really appreciate what happened to her, because it was really accelerated layering in many ways. So when I got home, I was going to leave again, and you thought, well, I'm going to take my chance. What did you do?
Because I had been waiting 18 months to have a session with him. Because I discovered it like right before he left. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then he was gone. So when I got the announcement, like, I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm going to take advantage of this. And so I went in for my first session, and I was so relaxed afterwards. And I deal with a lot of physical pain, so relaxation, and it's like, oh, this is good. I'm like, I can do this again. And so I ended up seeing him and having 4 sessions in 1 week, because I was leaving on vacation. So in 8 days, I made an appointment and came to see him, and it really was transformational for me. Like, my body really shifted. Yeah, it was a major shift, and it was like I felt relaxed and I had less pain, and I was like, that was wonderful. We left on vacation. We were driving to Yellowstone in Montana. And for the first time in probably 10 years, I was able to drive on the freeway.
Wow.
It was too much for my body to be able to push on the gas pedal far enough to get up to the speeds to drive on a freeway. And so I wasn't driving on the freeway. I would drive back roads. But it's like we were driving to Montana and I drove for hours, which was also like that was a major shift. And like we could change lanes in the car. And like these are simple things that people often don't think about, but it really does have an effect on our body. And because of instability in my core muscles and my ab muscles, I could literally like I would fall over because I couldn't hold myself up.
Mm.
If like because of the centrifugal force of changing lanes, it's like you're moving sideways, and would just fall over. I'm like, suddenly this was not an issue. I'm like, that got my attention. I'm like, I can change lanes. I can drive on the freeway. My core muscles tightened up in response to the vibrations of the bowls and the frequencies. It's like, I was like, okay. And it's like my pain is reduced. I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this. And he texted me while I was gone and said, I'm going to stick around. I'm not leaving again. So I'll see you when you get home.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And I've been a client ever since. And then we started working together. I have also gone through the training for playing the singing bowls and doing vibrational sound therapy. And that led to learning how to lead sound baths. And it's like, I love the frequency of bowls. I'm like Steve has this musical background. I have no musical background, but I'm like, this stuff is amazing for the body. Like it's so amazingly affects the body. And it for each person, it's so unique and individualized, even though setting.
I'm going to brag on Kristen a little bit. She's been working tirelessly rewriting some manuals that I've done for our sound bath training. And so I wrote it from what do I want to teach my students? And we have a number of students that are doing this now and that have done it. What do I want to teach them as a practitioner? She's writing it from the standpoint of what do I want to learn to become a practitioner?
Beautiful.
So the manual has flow now. And the manual has elements of the taste and see that the Lord is good kind of stuff. It's like she's getting you into the visceral empowerment phase and the really deep ways of connecting with vibration and sound, and that's so powerful. And so everything I experienced on my tour with the multiple clients, she's heard so many, like hundreds of stories. She's incorporating all of that experience into this new manual that's going to be out shortly. And you know, we can handle right now three or four more students but we're getting so busy with everything else that we're doing.
Sign me up. I want to
me,
take your
me.
course. I want to take it. No, I'm serious. Even before we met, I literally, my father is my witness. Like I was looking at sound bowls. I love sound bowls. And then my friend sent me Paul, oh my God, it was like a specific man. He said, go look at that brand because it's like the best one. You don't be getting anything cheap. And I'm like, oh my God, like $500 for a singing bowl. So actually, like part of my motivation for this business that I'm working is like to get myself a whole set of sound bowls. So I am here for it. I want to learn. I don't know if you could do it. Well, I mean, I guess I'd have to have my bowls to do it from my house. But do you do like online courses or does it have to be in person?
We do it online with our clients and we do the demonstrating and then you can practice with your own bowls.
Uh-huh.
We also have a really great package for both crystal and bronze bowls that we
Okay.
sell you. We've made arrangements with the factories and invested in their business to become bowl experts. And so we can get you the best pricing on the best bowls. Don't
Okay.
shop where else. We would be glad to give you uh, assistance with that. And we provide the consultation for it for free. We're able to
Wow.
sit down with people, talk about their heart's desires. So we would sit down with you or anybody else interested, and we would say, what do you really want to do energetically? What kinds of things?
Yes.
And then, you know, sometimes you work yourself out of a job, and we're going to get to some other things here in a minute. Time. Kristen has become for a non-musical person, and I'm not a musical snob. I don't even read music. I play by ear, and you know, remind me to tell you about my hand and my guitar before we end this.
Okay.
I've got to tell you because this is breaking news. Anyway, she has gotten an ear for listening to bowls and picking them out. So we get through the initial interview with someone like yourself that would want to order some bowls, and then she goes to work and she filters through sometimes over 100 bowls and listens to the samples, experiences their energy, and then she brings me about 5 to 10 choices, which is all I could tolerate at that point in my life. And she brings me like the cream of the crop and says, "Of these, which one does Aline? What do you think Aline would register with the most?" So I now have a partner who's like leveling up big time, and it's like, well, does anybody even talk about Steve anymore? Because the first thing people say is,
The
"Oh,
queen
how's
stepped
Kristen?"
in.
Like, "How's Kristen?" And the second, not how's Steve, it's how's Esther, the hops plant.
This
So
is just, I mean, there's so many elements to what you're saying. I love this because I'm all about like, I'm all about God and I'm also all about goddess. You know what I mean? Like that goddess energy that comes in, that steps in, that feminine, divine feminine energy. And it's like the man is a creator, the man is the supporter, right? The provider in that sense. But then when you got a queen like next to you, that's just like bringing that divine feminine energy, it helps to elevate both. And when the man is able to recognize that, like how you're doing, you know what I mean? Very with a lot of humility, with a lot of like grace, because like that union right there in terms of like what you all are creating is the perfect feminine masculine balance that we need in this world, you know? I think it's missing a lot of the time because of ego, because of like, oh, just look at me, look at me, look at what all I'm doing. But it's like, no, look at what we are doing together. Like you launched it, you started it, you were that divine masculine force, and now you got like your amazing I don't know if counterpart is like the word, but your amazing like your match, you met your match, you know, you met your match that was like on the same frequency. And this is how frequency works. And I wanted to touch on this too, because even you and me talking, like I had no idea. I barely know Steve. Like we just met. We literally just met, but there was like something energetic that was connecting us. And thank you so much to Queen Amy for connecting us, for, you know, singing your praises too, because she really sang your praise. She was like, this man here is magical. This man here is like something special. Pay attention to him. So I'm like, oh, okay. Anything Amy says now, I'm like, okay, tuning in. Like, who is this man? Let me let me connect with him. And so that's what frequency works. And you didn't know I wanted to buy sound bowls. You didn't know I was looking into that and looking
not
for teachers,
yeah,
right?
that's
Right? So this is like the new earth frequency. Like I'm gonna be, you know, investing in your business now. I was looking into it. I was ready to pay a completely stranger for them, you know what I mean? But now it's like this is what we're doing. We're supporting each other's businesses. We're raising our own frequency through following our heart, through leveling up ourselves, like each of us energetically. And look at the miracles that are happening. Like this is just, I'm just blown away. And you know, when we put ourselves out there, like even coming on this interview, I know it's very vulnerable. It's very like it's a very scary thing, right? To come on and share. We don't know, especially live, like we don't know if we're going to make a mistake. We don't know if we're going to say something silly. Like it takes a lot of courage. And I think from that courage, from that saying yes, even you, Kristen, like saying, you know, I'm going to wait for you to come. Like I need this so bad. You advocated for yourself. Like that's an act of courage. And then you came 4 times in 8 days. Like that is saying I love myself and I'm on my knees here. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to get better. And when we're in that place, that's when God steps in massive ways, in miraculous ways, where it's like, okay, you know, here are the tools. It's not just like God is there all the time, right? He's everywhere and he works through people. I love to say this. God works through people. God works through nature, through tools, through different practices. He doesn't just manifest through prayers and imagination. Like he is real. As I'm saying this, Queen Katrina came in, King Marcus came in. These are God-loving, God-fearing people in my life that I have literally attracted through my own surrender, through my own devotion to God. And I've lost so many friends along the way. I made a post about that today because everything that's not aligned, everything that's not on your frequency, everything that's just like not your for your highest good, when we cut them out and we clean that slate and we just say it's me and God, whatever it takes, then God again like opens up all the portals, the floodgates are open, and he just pours into you in ways that you could like he just keeps blowing my mind every single day. I'm like, whoa, synchronicities, numbers, signs, and I'm just like everything is starting to make sense at this point in time in my life. And I'm 42 years young. And I'm telling you, up until this point, I have just been like, what is going on? Like, where is this gonna, I mean, it's been evolving. I'm not gonna say no. Like, it's been 10 years of like a really deep spiritual journey for me, but it's been a struggle. It's been hard. I won't lie. Like, it's just been hard. And now this last year, I'd say the last few months, like accelerated frequency, elevation of myself, of my spirit. And I mean, these drops have definitely helped me. And they've come in because of all the work that I've already been doing on myself. You know, they came as like a beautiful gift from the heaven. You have come to me as a beautiful gift from the heaven. And all my new friends, all my new connections are feeling so much more expansive, so much more nourishing on a soul level than ever before. So just praise God for everything and all the miraculous ways that he's showing up in my life and your life as well. Like there's no coincidence, you know what I mean? Like that you two came together for such a time as this. Like our world needs healing and it needs divine connections, divine um, partnerships with people that are on the same mission. What's our mission? Okay, boom. God is going to align us with the right people at the right time. So thank you so much for listening and for being obedient and for being, you know, the sacred, like the temple, our temple of God is here. It's our body. And it's the most spiritual thing too to do is to take care of our body, to take care of our nervous system. And I think that is like the key that unlocks everything. Everything else comes from ourselves being in that balance within ourselves. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for that.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is, we we cannot be afraid to dream.
Mm.
We've been given the capacity to dream for a reason, and it helps us to break through those layers of resistance that might be there. But then we also that there's the what and the why, but then there's also the how. And people get freaked out whether it's business, you know. I mean, I launched this tour. I had never done a nationwide tour. I had produced them in my former business. I was a an event producer, and I produced concerts and tours and things like that. Hundreds of them. I've met so many famous people. It would just sound like I'm bragging, but I mean, very few musicians on the planet today that I have not done something to help them produce their shows.
Wow.
And from the oldies to the new. But I realized something that like that can be just sort of an empty thing if you're not connected spiritually. So when I decided to go out on the road and let people know what I was doing with the sound healing that was happening through these singing bowls, I just I found out from two friends that they wanted me to come down to two different cities. One was Sacramento and one was Napa, California. And I took off not intending to come back until I was ready. And so I got done with the first 3 days in Napa. I spent 3 days there and I handled, I think I want to say over 70 people, which was ridiculous because I was working from 7 in the morning until 2 o'clock in the morning most of those 3 days.
Mhm.
And we got done. I was traveling with somebody who brought their own vehicle, and they came along just to help. And so she said, "Look, I'm going to go get coffee for us. Where are we going next?" And I said, "I have no idea. We don't have to be in Sacramento for 5 weeks. I have no idea." She goes, "Okay, well, I trust God, and I'll be right back with coffee. We'll start warming up the RV." And so I was driving in an RV and able to stay in that. She had friends along the way, so she stayed with her friends. And every once in a while, I would rent her like a hotel room. And um, by the time she got back, I had gotten a phone call from somebody uh, else down south that said, "We need you now to come do this." And that's the way the whole tour was. And imagine, you're sitting in Houston, Texas, and like I did another 77 people in 5 days, which was way too much. I've learned my lesson. But
That's a
imagine
lot.
being there, having somebody say, "Okay, we want you to come to Florida at a retreat, and we want you to do sound healing for everyone that's there. Like we're going to give you your own room to use to set up your therapy and your bowls and things like that." And I thought, well, how can I resist that? So I drove all the way to Florida, but I stopped at places in between, and it was just one thing after another. Did I do it perfectly? No, but I'm committed to this, and I want to give you this as a gift if you've never heard this. CCIA. CCIA stands for consistent, committed, imperfect action.
Mm.
CCIA, consistent, committed, imperfect action. I've observed that with so many different people that are successful. I have several friends that are billionaires, and they subscribe to that consistent, committed, imperfect action. I've seen people that are just wildly successful in their lives, musically or whatever it might be, and they just consistently are out there. Um, I had a talk with a guy named Michael Franti, who is an amazing musician.
Love him.
Michael and I become friends, and
Wow.
I produced a number of his concerts. And he said basically the same thing. He said, "Look, Steve, this is not about you doing anything perfect." He goes, "I'm watching you and your crew produce my shows, and there's all kinds of things that go wrong throughout the day, but you pull it off. By the time I hit the stage, I'm in my living room singing to my friends."
Wow.
Now he made that comment about a show that we were hoping to get 1,000 people to, and we ended up with 5,000 people showing up.
Ooh.
So it's consistent. It's CCIA,
Well, I'm
and we're
taking notes.
well. I want to switch gears a little bit, if it's okay, and talk about how um, so much of that came to a screeching halt 3 years ago. And I went through just a major, major health crisis that started with one particular thing, and it led to a series of cascading events. And all of this led up to um, about 3 weeks ago, where I ended up in the emergency room, and it was very serious. It was life and death.
Mm.
And I won't go into all the great details. I'll say when they put me on the narcotics to wheel me into the CAT scan, I cried out to God and I said, I need help. I number one, I don't want to be in this position, but number two, I don't want to live this way. I am not suicidal, but I do not want to live this way. I need a quality of life that's different. So for 3 years since that original incident, I've been in a chair,
Mm.
unable to walk except to get up and use the restroom. Um, and it's, without Kristen helping me, I probably would not be here. I would just categorically say I would not be here. She has intervened so much in my life during this crisis, and so she was with me at the hospital. I came back in. It was not great news that the doctor brought, and one of the first things she said is the inflammation and infection has moved up to your head and is around your skull. And I had a beautiful long, probably 25-inch ponytail
Mm.
that I wore with curls down. And I just recently changed my Facebook picture, but she said, "You're going to have to cut your hair."
Oh.
And I looked at Kristen and I thought, how many more things do I have to give up in order to live? And it broke my heart. a little bit because it's not so much that it was my identity, but it was the freedom that I felt as an artist and a musician and all that.
Yeah.
So, we went through the haircut and I felt like, okay, this is a new journey. But it was in that CAT scan that I cried out, and I remembered a friend of ours that is a mutual friend of ours named Penny, who had talked to me about a week earlier before this whole crisis happened, and had told me about something called mature hops extract. Well, I understood something about that. I didn't know what I know now, but I told her thank you because you're like number 25 of people that have reached out this week and offered me a lotion or a potion or a solution, and I'm just not interested. I just can't. There's like I have no room to absorb anything except trying to stay alive
Mm-hmm.
and taking 7 different prescriptions and all of this stuff. Um, but when I remembered her face in the CAT scan, I called her right after that and I said, okay, I'm ready to listen.
Wow.
And she said, well, I'm going to encourage you to do 2 things. And you know Penny well enough to know that she would do this. She said, I know who you are. She's had a sound bath and she's had a vibrational sound session with me. Um, she said, I want you to start engaging with the hops plant flower energetically. I want you to begin engaging energetically before you ever even get the product. You need to know that the product is plant medicine. It is it is just the extract of 3 bitter acids and spring water. No other additives. One plant, organically sourced in New Zealand. It's a simple thing to do. Squirt the drops in your water, your coffee, your adult beverage. Like whatever. Why do we call them adult beverages when everybody acts so childish when they're drinking beer and wine? I don't know why it's called an adult beverage, but anything with alcohol in it, you can still use these drops with. And I've got mine in my water here,
Yeah.
and so I started engaging energetically, and I had a profound experience where the plant actually came to me.
Yeah.
And I talked for an hour about just that whole experience. And then I got the drops, and we got them on an afternoon. I didn't know what all they would do, but I had started researching and reading studies. I went online and I looked at mature hops extract or mature hops flower extract, and then different conditions that I was dealing with. And there's scientific studies from Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins University and all throughout PubMed and Google Docs and other sources. There's all these studies. And so I'm reading these studies. And like I said earlier, I'm a voracious student of studying things. And the more I read, the more I was excited because these are medical doctors and researchers talking about something that we've actually known about for 50 years, or I'm sorry, 70 years. They're like, we have 7 decades of research about mature hops extract, but it costs so stinking much to produce a gallon of it. It's like over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So when Penny said, I'll help you order this, I get the drops, I put them in my water.
Mm-hmm.
In in 30 minutes, my brain fog went away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gone. Now, I asked myself the question, and Chris and I talked about this. When was the last time I felt this clear headed? 2007.
Mm-hmm. Praise
In,
God.
in 2008,
Mm.
my son, his birthday was yesterday. And in 2008, he killed himself. In 2008, my best friend, my mom, had a massive stroke and died 6 months later. In 2008, I was diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer and told that even with intervention, I wouldn't live past 2014.
Whoa.
2008 sucked. But 2008 was also a portal, a window into my future. And I was determined to take consistent, committed, imperfect action. I'm sorry. It's okay. And Fick's done this to me too. It's like I cry at the drop of a hat. And I don't mean to upset you at all,
It's
but
okay.
this is like so real to me. And the timing is absolutely incredible with all of this because literally I'm back to that pre all of that crisis mindset. And that's why this is working so well for both Kristen and I. Even the business side of it is incredible because people see the difference in me. My face is slimmer. Aline, I lost 14 pounds in 14 days.
Wow.
That my blood pressure dropped 15%. So I'm headed towards a safer zone and I've got more weight to release. I don't lose weight because I'm so good at finding stuff. I don't find my weight that I've lost. So I don't lose it anymore. I release it.
Just to let it go.
Just let it go. And you know what's interesting about this is regardless of all the things that go on, because what I found, according to the scientific studies, is that it enables the vagus nerve to do a very similar thing to what the sound bowls do. When you activate the vagus nerve, you've activated and tapped into the internet of the body. And so, as that has happened with me, it has absolutely transformed everything that's going on in my life. My body is healing itself. Like I don't need a disclaimer for that. I'm not saying that these drops have healed me. My vagus nerve has been supported by these drops, and my homeostasis is improving, and my body is responding. I am breathing better. I could barely breathe. I was facing going on oxygen. I was facing dealing with inflammation that was out of control, and my inflammation is coming into line. It's detoxing me in a way, and I know detoxing because I was leading people for years in a vegan detox situation and helping dozens and dozens of people get their life cleaned up. But this is like been effortless. This here's my detox right now.
Yes. Well, cheers to that.
Yeah,
And that release of emotion is so healthy. Like that immediate response is so healthy for us because it's like these drops help us in just being able to let that go immediately. And so when we immediately just like our bodies is just automatically processing what's happening in our response to that. And when we allow that to happen, it's like none of that trauma gets stored in our body. It's like when we try to stuff our emotions, like it's stored in our body, and then that that affects our body. And it's like this is releasing that. It's letting it go. It's letting us, so like we just get to move through our experiences.
that's so
And
good. That's so
yeah.
good. Aline, I'll tell you what. I think I'm getting a download for you.
Okay.
I, I think that there was a time in eternity past where you and Amy and Kristen and myself and Penny and Jessica and Chris and Danielle, like where we all stood in the balcony of heaven and we leaned over the edge and we looked down to the earth. And somebody, probably Chris, said, or it could have been me because I do this kind of thing, said, "Hey, why don't we all get together sometime down there and do something
Yeah.
fantastic for the world?" I really believe that. I believe we get to choose beforehand from a pick list, from a menu, a heavenly terra menu for the earth of what our experience is going to be like, and that includes all the things that we suffered. It can't put into words what it's like to lose a child. It's just so insanely impossible to conceive. But yet, I haven't lost him. I have released him. And he is fully alive. He's fully engaged now. He's not suffering anymore the way he was. Like there's no I'm not wasting my sorrows. I'm investing my grief and my sorrows into life. And one of the folks in our organization um, was on the phone, phone with me this morning, and she made a comment. She said, my son's name was Sean. She said, Sean is a door for you. He's a portal to you for a whole new life. And it's not a mistake that the day after his birthday, you're going to be interviewed about what makes you tick and how you've come back from the dead, basically.
He's with us. I feel him. I feel him with us. And God bless his soul. He's our angel. He's your angel. I believe that. I believe that life is eternal, when people choose when they're ready to leave this plane, and he decided to, it was his time because his suffering here was too much. And God calls back his angels sometimes, when they're never gone. So he is here, and I see you and I hear you and I feel you, and I'm just like so moved by your testimony. And just like thank you for continuing your life, thank you for taking the steps to heal yourself, despite all the sadness and all the pain and all the difficulties in your life. This is what I'm most passionate about as well, is just that like phoenix rising story, that let's come out of the ashes story, and try, we think, oh my gosh, losing a child, like we're never gonna be okay again. Like that thought. I mean, I have a 15-year-old, and just the thought just brings me to tears. Like my dad is on the call with us today, and he nearly lost me so many times to this. Like I was messed up. I was definitely suicidal. Drugs, alcohol, like you name it. I had a death wish, and if he hadn't saved me many times, who knows where I would be today. Like he really intervened, and that was like divine intervention. God intervened. I got the help I needed. But who knows what could have happened. But you have a mission to continue no matter what happens. No matter what happens in our life, we need to find those ways and that strength. And that can only come from God. That can only come from something greater than ourselves, because then you got the rage, you got the anger, you got the confusion, those emotions that come through. But then there's a sense through it all. Like I had no idea it was his birthday. You know what I mean? Like all of this is coming through, and I've been feeling this deep connection to you and to the plant. Like it's really powerful what's happening here. And like I said, everything is just starting to make sense, after all the pain, all that darkness, like seeing you moving out of it, hearing you with your testimony, seeing Penny in that CAT scan. Like we are spirits here on earth. We are definitely angels. We are definitely light beings that have chosen to incarnate, to reincarnate, whatever your beliefs may be, to come into this plane for a purpose. And me too, I was like, what is, like, I know I want to help people, just like you've been helping people, you've been going on the road, this calling on your life. And me too. And I feel like I'm just like, it's just starting to get like really exciting, because like we're gonna meet in person. I know that. I've seen that. And we're just gonna like keep expanding and keep growing. And God is only going to keep blessing us more and more, because blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Those who really mourn, those who really dig deep within themselves and allow those tears, like Kristen was saying, those tears are so healthy. And I've been so used to like repressing them, suppressing them, and I can't even do that no more. Like especially with these drops, like I was already pretty raw with the foods, like changing my diet made me really sensitive. Changing, juice cleansing, all these things have made me very much more in tune with myself. Releasing, I said, this is the sober version of me. Like I'm sometimes loud, I am sometimes emotional, like I will say things as they come up, like sorry guys, like I don't want to do drugs or drink, but like this is it. Sometimes it's gonna be messy, and sometimes I'm just gonna like lose it, because I'm learning to navigate those emotional states in a whole new way, where I was so used to. And I know I'm not alone in this, like just pushing it down or pressing it, don't let it come. It's embarrassing to cry in front of people. Oh my God, they just all see me crying. Like, oh my God, like I have those thoughts, but I don't even care no more, because our world needs healing, and the healing starts with us. The healing starts with ourselves being in touch with what's really going on inside of us. Know thyself. Like there's no other way to say it. Just know yourself. And if you don't know yourself throughout all your spectrum of emotions, then you don't really know yourself. You know a facade, you know a face that you put on social media, you know the perfect version of you. And that's why I try to show up like as authentically as I can all the time so that people know me, and they could see me. And that's why, they relate to you because you're honest, your testimonial is real. I mean, these drops are changing our lives. And it makes me so emotional too, because it also encourages me to keep on sharing because look, Penny, God bless Penny. I want to say that Penny is amazing. I love Penny so much. I'm going to come see her too. Like we have developed a really deep connection as well through this whole miracle of life that's been going on. So Penny and I have a beautiful relationship. And like, thank you so much, Penny, for reaching out to your friend. And even though he said no, you said no at first, right? We know this works. We know it's changing lives, and we just have to step out of our comfort zone, get out of our own way to be like, hey, you need this. Like, I love you so much, and I'm telling you the truth. Like, do you trust me? Do you trust me with this? Because I would never be telling you anything that didn't work. And now that everybody's hearing your testimonial, I have a lot of people on this call that I've reached out to that are on the fence, that are not sure, that are like, is this too good to be true? Right? They're skeptical, but like, you saw it, you're hearing Steve, you know what I mean? Like you're hearing his heart, you're feeling his energy, and this is what it's all about. It's about the frequency, it's about the trust, it's about why would you be sitting here bullshitting us? You know what I mean? Like there is no BS in this. There's no BS in what I'm sharing. I am the last person to bring about anything that wouldn't work. So when we're seeing these kinds of transformations, and I mean, this is one of them, and it's also helping kids with special needs. We got Esther, Queen Esther, my queen, who introduced me to this. Me too. I was on my knees. This is how this came about too, right? In our place of surrender, you were surrendered in your state. I was in a bad depressive state. I was having those suicidal thoughts come back. That's why when you speak, I'm like, I know those spaces as good as it looks. Everybody thinks I have it all. I'm this, I'm that. I got a beautiful family. I don't have to worry about nothing. I have an amazing daughter. But like depression is real and it could affect anybody at any time. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how wealthy you are. I don't care where you come from. It's bad and it could get really bad. And it's scary to be in those places and to have those thoughts. And so that's how this came about was Esther reached out to me and she was like, you need to try these drops. And because I trust her, because we have a friendship and we have a relationship, I was like, where do I sign up? Like, I need help here. And I've been doing the work. I'm not talking about like someone who's never done the work. I have been putting in the work for years, doing all the things. Um, could I exercise more? I could exercise more. I know exercise is a big part of depression recovery. I do want to say this. I have to take responsibility as well for also, but it's like the cycle, right? The winter comes and then you're depressed. And try going to the gym when you're feeling depressed. Try moving yourself. Like it's just that cycle of like, I can't, I don't want barely functioning, barely taking care of my daughter, all these things. So Esther, when she stepped into my life, it was like a relief. And I started feeling the drops before I even got them. From when a moment I said yes, I broke down. I was in a dollar store. I broke down. I started crying. I had lateral crafts and stuff. Like I was just and I just started crying. I was like, the relief is on its way. And I felt the drops working. I started sharing right away. I was like, look, these drops are coming. I feel like they're going to be amazing for me, for people. I was starting to like create curiosity, but I felt my spirit lifted from the moment I said yes. The spirit of the
Yeah.
plant really came through for me too. And I'm very tapped in just like you to the plant kingdom. But right away I was like, this is going to be huge and this is going to change so many lives. So you saying that is just making me even more eager, even more passionate, even more like I'm just gonna tr blaze a trail because someone like you is out there who needs this in their life. Someone like my daughter, someone like me needs this. Someone like Kristen needs this. Every single one of us needs this. And it's just about helping them to see that they need it, helping them to open up their hearts to this because we've been so lied to. We've been so bullshitted, right? How many people have bullshitted us in our life? We don't trust no more. But when we do trust, when we do open up, like I trusted Esther, like you trusted Penny, boom, look at how our lives are changing. And yeah, finances, Amy's a blue diamond, y'all. Like, you want me to show you a compensation plan? Let me just get in my DM and I'll show you a compensation plan because the potential here is real. And I'm not talking about Joe and Matthew and Stacy out there that I don't freaking know that's up there in the company. I'm talking about my best friends that are making it, you know what I mean? In a month, in 2 months, y'all. Like Esther is a double diamond in 2 months she reached this, or a little bit less. Okay, like the potential here for anybody who wants to get better, who wants to help people, who has a passion for helping humanity, like let's get in touch. Contact Steve, contact Kristen, contact me. Like we're in this together. We're all a beautiful tribe, and everybody's going to resonate with different people. Everybody's going to want to work with different teams. You know what I mean? We are building a legacy here. This is literally like me too. I've always wanted to heal the world. I've always said this, like, how am I going to help people? I have dreams of this community center. I have dreams of this, um, the community and a healing center. Like that's my lifelong goal is to create something. We have the land. We just need, investors. Now you're saying, billionaires, like let's connect. Like, hello, like, can I meet a billionaire or two? Like we need to build tiny homes. We need to help people fast. We need to get them back on the fruit. We need to plant fruit trees. And like Belize has been calling me for many years. And even this, I'm like, he's there. He's there. The person is there. I know the abundance is there. Like, come on. Like we want to create so many beautiful things for the world. And it takes money to do that. But it first takes our own frequency to align with it. It's not just like, I want money, I want money. I've never been about the money. I've never been about, like, I put in so much energy, like every single day for free on Facebook. I don't make money on Facebook. Well, I shouldn't even put that out there. I shouldn't even be saying that. I make tons of money on Facebook, but the reality is I have been putting myself out there doing free coaching calls. Like everything has just been like from my heart, And now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, Queen is ready for her throne. Like Queen is ready for her castle. You know what I mean? Like, let's go build that castle for me and my sisters and my brothers who a lot of people want to get out of the States. A lot of people want to get out of Canada. Like, let's build heaven on earth. And how is that going to happen? Boom, with conversations like these, by showing up consistently, committed, imperfectly, and in action. This is what I'm talking about. This right here is how we change the freaking world by
That's
taking
right.
one foot in front of the other without knowing. I didn't know how this was going to go. I didn't know I was going to cry in front of everyone, but you and Kristen and me, like, boom, and Amy and Penny and Katrina and Jadica and Tamanya and whoever's on, Christina, all my besties, Esther, Goddess Nana, oh my gosh, Queen St. Clair, like literally Sonia. Sonia just texted me the other day and she's like, I hope this is okay that I say this, but she's like, Queen, you're so strong. You're so beautiful. Like, how do you do the things you do? And I'm like, you can do them too. I'm here to speak life into you. I'm here to show you that you can do everything. I'm no special than anybody else. I just decided I'm going to step out of my state of mind. I'm going to step out of this lack of confidence, step out of my fear, step out of my introverted little weird little head because I believe in myself and I believe that I have a gift to share, whether that's through the fruits, through the juices, through everything, like whatever you need, I got you. And this is a powerful tool to get into people's homes and help them change their life, help them take on better habits. We haven't even talked about the natural ways that it helps people overcome addictions, help them to naturally gravitate away from the negative foods towards the fruit. This is a tool to help shift energetically, naturally, without white knuckling it. Our gut microbiome, I just want to touch on this. The gut microbiome is the one that your mother gave you. So it's not your fault that you're addicted to all these foods, to the breads, to the meats, to the dairy, to the fast foods, to the junk food. Like we were literally given a nasty gut microbiome and we have to deal with that and overcome those addictions. And then we start eating them throughout our life. On anyway, the gut microbiome is what needs to be addressed, not just the head, not just saying, oh, I'm going to quit this and I'm going to quit that. You got to deal with it from the gut. And that is also what's going to help you with the depression, with the anxiety, like we were saying. But if you want to change your addiction and your eating habits, focus on your gut microbiome. So the fulvic acid too, I started taking the fulvic acid. That's a whole other level of like cleaning out the blood, cleaning out the parasites, getting into the cells, helping the cells be more healthy. Our cells are chronically just they're not well, they're not functioning properly, and we can't think properly. Like even Katrina told me, like my energy has completely shifted in a month, and that is 100% true. I feel it, I see it. I'm experiencing so many things from that. So mind, body, spirit, this is going to change your life. And thank you so much for having the courage to step out of your comfort zone to share. It's not comfortable. We're not salespeople. I'm not anyway. I don't like that. But when I see something so powerful like this, I'm like, I'm going to try my best to get into as many of my friends and family's homes because I know this is going to help them.
Well, I want to say to you that as a papa, and my I I have a daughter your age.
Mm.
She's got 14 kids, 14, and she
Wow.
homeschools all. But as a papa, I want to say to you, Aline, you are radiating the frequency that is the highest frequency that's released that they can study out of the body.
Wow.
And it's not love,
Mm.
it's authenticity. You are one of the most authentic people that I've met.
Mm.
Your authenticity is your brand, right? You could be there with a sack over your head and cut a hole in a pillowcase and wear the pillowcase, and you would still come through as an authentic woman of power and grace and authority. And so I would encourage everyone that's watched today or that is still watching, reach out to Aline. If she invited you to this call, reach out to her, find out more about these amazing drops. If we invited you, feel free to reach out. And if you're interested in connecting with Kristen and I with regard to the sound
Yeah.
healing, whether it's to get a ticket to attend one of our sound baths online, or whether it's to get a sound healing session with one of us, or whether it's to even learn, like Aline wants to learn how to play the bowls and purchase the bowls, then reach out to us. It's Steve Hampton. Just go, and my friends are almost like completely full. So follow me, and
Okay.
and we'll connect with you that way. But Aline, thank you so much for letting us both
Thank you.
come on here today. The one question you're probably going to get more than anything is who do you buy your makeup from? Because I didn't see any streaks. I didn't see you your little eyes out, and your makeup is awesome.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I was like bawling my eyes out. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be very, very honest. I'm looking for like a natural product. So if anybody knows a natural makeup, again, my authenticity, I can't bullshit. So Maybelline, I know it's really bad, but yeah. I just have this one mascara that I absolutely love, and I've tried so many other things, and they just don't work. So they're my natural lashes. I don't wear any makeup on my face, like I don't wear any foundation. This is my natural skin, but I do wear a little mascara. So if anybody knows a natural brand, I am looking for one. But yeah, just maybe it's Maybelline.
Well, and I spent over an hour putting my lashes on and my mascara this.
You're so funny. Before we go, though, you told me to remind you, yes, definitely, like get in touch with Steve. We're gonna be doing more of these. I would love to talk to you some more, but I know we're on a time and we wanted to keep this short. But this was so juicy. This was so good for a first encounter. But hand in guitar. You want to tell us
Yeah,
a little bit more
I,
about that?
I started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. I've been playing. I'll be 71 in July, and it brings me so much joy. But I haven't been able to play my guitar for over a year
Mhm.
because the inflammation is such that I can bend this hand that much,
Hmm.
and I can't close my thumb without that pain. So like I can't do this.
Ouch. Mhm.
9 days into the drops.
Ah, oh my gosh. This is huge. Oh my gosh. Look at that mobility. Look at that inflammation, that uric acid, that lactic acid gone. Like,
Done. So
praise God. This is incredible.
the other thing is I want to remind people we couldn't get her to sing this morning, and plants have a mind of their own. So we had a conversation with Esther, our not your person in your organization that brought you into this, but our Esther plant, which is a hops plant.
Yeah.
This is the same genus. It's a mature hop. It's a hops plant that will mature in about 3 years,
Mhm.
and will get blossoms at that point. I'm very excited about that. But
Yeah.
we have a device that we can plug in to plants and let them sing. So plants have a natural click and pop electronic signature, but this company, and I'll go into that some other time, uh, developed an algorithm to assign musical notes to the various electronic frequencies that plants naturally have. Plants, trees, all of them. And so we had her singing the other day, and she was really, I've been learning the language. Just like I've got a foreign exchange student here, you pick up some of the lingo. I now know when she is releasing healing frequencies. I know when she's releasing compassion. I've got about 25 to 30 words or phrases that I've learned, and I recognize them. And when I interact with her that way, she responds back to me in a predictable manner. So
Wow.
I couldn't get her to sing this morning, and that's okay. We love you, Esther. You are awesome. You're a welcome member in our home. But we'll get the plant singing sometime, and then get her online with us. We'll interview Esther.
I would love that. She was feeling a little shy today. It's okay. We love you, Esther. That is absolutely incredible. Yes, the music of the plants, you were saying that's the device, but you did share a video with me, so if anybody does want to hear her, I'm happy to share that video that Steve shared with me where she is singing and I was just blown away by her. These plants are absolutely incredible. They have an energy, they have a spirit. They are very much alive, and the more we honor them and you know recognize their sacred nature, which is God, who created this. I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, and to you it shall be your meat. To me, that passage really like means everything to me. Like Genesis 1:21 is where it's at. This is it. This is what we need to live by in order to really access the higher realms, to raise our frequency, change our diet, change our mind, get into the sound healing, get into the drops. Like we have something absolutely incredible that is the gateway to really, really I have to be careful. We have to be compliant, with our words because this is so big what's happening to truly, truly find balance within ourselves and homeostasis within ourselves. And when I say when we heal ourselves, we heal the world, this is what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
massive, massive praises to the Lord first and foremost. Thank you, Christ, for guiding us here. Thank you to you, amazing Steve, and thank you to you, beautiful Kristen, for your time and energy and effort. I just love you all so much, and I really look forward to all the great ways that God is going to continue to bless us in the future. Any last words before we go? Thank you to everybody who joined us as well.
I would say the reason that we titled this the way we did today, we haven't touched on. I titled my tour the Sci-Fi Tour, SYFI, the Sci-Fi Tour, and this is where science fiction and science meets reality. So science meets fiction. Fiction is an imagination that can become real if we manifest it. The science for this herb is amazing and incredible. The fiction about it is becoming more and more of a reality. So what sci-fi means to me is to shift your frequencies
Intentionally.
intentionally. Thank you, Kristen, for being my last brain cell was spent there. Shift these intentionally. And I did that today. Even through the tears. The tears bring healing to people. And somebody watching today, when I cried and when you cried, they realized it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be real. It's okay to be compassionate and to flow in those things. And may that be a key to them to unlock that. And may you be rewarded throughout your day for being so vulnerable. That was reward enough for me. So we love you.
I love you
And
too. Thank you. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable with us and sharing that. And my heart goes out to you for everything you've been through. And you know, God bless your beautiful son, Sean, who's with us, who has probably brought us together as well. I do believe our angels are there doing absolutely wild things up in heaven. I have a best friend I lost recently too I feel like she's coming through too, and she wants me to say, hey. My best friend Anne-Sophie, she passed away this year of cystic fibrosis after a long lifelong battle of cystic fibrosis, and she actually turned me to God because she survived two times, two times a double lung transplant. So when this is why I do not bash doctors publicly at all, because I'm like, all praises to those hands who had my best friend's heart in their hands for about a few hours while they Oh my God, they resuscitated her. Like she was a miracle of life. She weighed like 60 pounds. She was in a coma for many months before she received the lungs. So even the fact that she received the lungs, miracle after miracle. So God bless her soul, she saved my life. She helped me to get sober. She, you know, did so many incredible things. She brought me to meetings. She invited me to read the 12 steps, to do the 12 steps with a sponsor, all these things. So yeah, Aunt Sophie is with me and I feel her all the time too. So that was my first, real divine connection. I mean, I've lost like grandparents and all that, but like my best friend going, I guess just like, your son when you really like, you're really close to them all the time and they stay with you all the time. So she guides my ways and she's bringing the most amazing people into my life too. And she tells me, she's teaching me too. She's like, this one out. Like she sees things from the heaven and she guides my ways. She's like, get them out, get them out. No, no. She's like clearing out. I could feel her. I could feel her just like, oh, that's got her hands all over this. So
That is so good.
yeah.
Well, thank you again. We so appreciated this time with you, and
Oh,
congratulations again on all of your achievements, and congratulations on the new Good News channel. I'm very
yay.
happy for you about that, Kristen, and I think that that is fantastic. And so
Thank
we're
you.
pleased to be a small part of blessing your life.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely going to be bringing this on. I didn't even mention the Good News channel because it wasn't like an official Good News channel podcast, but let's bring it in. Like I'm definitely going to share this on the podcast and on the new YouTube channel that I created, just like sharing good news from all over the world. Like this is the best news. So you just bless me and bless so many people with everything that you're doing and everything that you are, and just keep showing up in your authenticity. I call it raw authenticity. Yeah, because it's all about the
Uh,
revolution, right? Like that. I like to make play on words too. It's not it's like the raw and then the evolution, like bringing in that revolution. And it's not just about the food, it's about being raw and authentic. So keep being rawsome.
that
I just had to.
that's
Well,
good.
love you all so much. Thank you to everybody who joined either live or on the replay. And we will be doing this again very soon. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Bye.